It was a tough loss for Tennessee basketball to the rival Kentucky Wildcats. Still number one seed, though. What will it take to hold on to that one seed over the final week before Selection Sunday? That and more coming up next. It's your Monday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good Monday morning. Welcome to the new week, and welcome back to Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for being here and always making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every day. Shout out to everydayers for making this show possible each and every day. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time today as well for being a proud sponsor of the show. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. We got a lot to get into today. Spring practice starts officially a week from today, and of course, we're going to go through and look at each position before spring practice rolls around. So that's what you have to look forward to as the week rolls on. But a lot of basketball talk here today because it is the most pressing thing on campus right now. We're going to recap Tennessee's loss to Kentucky and what this means in the grand scheme of things here in a matter of moments. Talk about previewing the SEC tournament and more. Joe Lunardi, what's he saying about the Volunteers? We'll talk with our buddy Ryan Schumpert of Rocky Top Insider in segment 2. And then we'll give a brief weekend baseball recap because I know a lot of you guys are wanting to talk a little baseball on Mondays, recapping what happened over the weekend. And don't look now. You got a Tuesday midweek, and then it's SEC play for the Tennessee baseball team. All that and more coming up here today on your Monday Locked On Vols. So, listen, it was a tough game. 85-81, Tennessee falls at home on senior day in front of a packed house. And it's frustrating because, number one, it's you're losing. Number two, it's Kentucky. You never want to lose to Kentucky in anything, especially basketball. And number three, it's senior day. And also, it's that final game that we continue to talk about, that final 2-week stretch, the final 4-game stretch to end the regular season, how no other team in the country has been battle-tested as much as Tennessee. And Tennessee won the first 3. And again, it was almost too good to be true, right? If you're going to sweep all 4 of those games, because that's typically not how things happen, but you better buckle up and get ready for it because that's what the NCAA tournament is, though the first couple of rounds won't be nearly as tough as what Tennessee's done the past 2 weeks. My point is, if everybody would have said, if I would have told everybody here on the show that Tennessee would go 3-1 over the last 4, everybody would take that in a heartbeat. But still, it stinks. You lose to Kentucky. And, Tennessee did not come out shooting well. 25% from the field in the opening half, the first 20 minutes of play. Tennessee rebounded and shot much, much better from the field in the second half. 47%, made 8 3-pointers in the second half, and I thought that was key to the comeback. And, overall in the game, Tennessee was able to come back and bring it within 3 or bring it within 4, I believe, and then ended up losing by 4. Had a chance to tie, brought it within 3 and had a chance to tie there in the waning, minute of the basketball game because Tennessee does what Tennessee does. 3 different times, Kentucky could not get the ball past midcourt because of Tennessee's suffocating defense. And that was a big reason why, and of course the sharp shooting and Dalton Knecht's 40 points and all that and more, that Tennessee was in position to tie that game with a 3-pointer from Josiah there at the end, and of course it didn't fall. But, hats off to Tennessee and making that comeback and making it a game and, giving the fans something to cheer for in the last minute. Didn't fall your way, but that doesn't take away from anything that you've done this season or any of the momentum heading into the next phase of the season, which is postseason. Got the SEC tournament coming up this weekend, and then, of course, the NCAA tournament. Now, the loss did have a little bit of, bearing on, not the SEC tournament because you already locked up the number 1 seed, but, Joe Lunardi's bracketology or those different bracketologists out there that are trying to predict what Selection Sunday is going to be, a week from last night. And because of the Arizona loss to USC late Saturday night, Tennessee held on to the number 4 overall seed, according to ESPN's Joe Lunardi on Sunday. He said, Arizona, quote, Arizona's fallen to the number 6 overall seed, opening the door for Tennessee and North Carolina to fight it out this week for the final number 1 overall seed. Of course, Carolina took care of its rival Duke on Saturday. Lunardi also wrote, quote, Tennessee is back in a virtual tie with Arizona and surging North Carolina for the fourth and final number 1 seed. The Vols were in the driver's seat before Saturday, but will now they will carry a little extra burden at the SEC tournament. We'll talk with Ryan Schumpert here in a moment. He'll pretty much say Tennessee kind of controls its own destiny. But I think the question is, what does that exactly mean? Does that mean Tennessee has to win the SEC tournaments? I wouldn't think so, because those Sunday games don't mean a dang thing to the selection committee. You know, the ACC and the Pac-12 are smart for getting those games, the championship games, in on Saturday, and they have all that signed, sealed, and delivered. And, you know, the selection committee doesn't really take into account Sunday games, and we've seen that in recent memory. So what does that mean? Do you win a game and then go home? Do you have to play on Sunday? I don't know. I don't know the question of that. Do you have to have some style points? I don't know. You know, we'll see. But because of that loss to Arizona, it's kind of putting, according to Joe Lunardi, Tennessee, Arizona, and now North Carolina kind of in a three-way tie, if you will, duking it out over the final season or final week of the season in each respective conference tournaments. Tennessee does get the benefit of the doubt of maintaining that 1 seed line, because that's kind of where you were entering the day. So nonetheless, that's kind of what that game had bearing on. But, you know, when that Kentucky basketball team comes in on the road in a rivalry game and makes 15 three-pointers, shoots 45% from the field, makes all but 2 free throws, that's a good enough Kentucky basketball team to win to go to the Final Four. You know, Tennessee scored 81 points, but Tennessee had to fight, claw, scratch its way to even get to the 80-point plateau mark. Again, 25%, only made 8 of 32 field goals in the first half. Tennessee trailed at the half by a score. Well, I can't see it anywhere. Tennessee trailed at the half. Oh, there it is, by a score of 33-29. So it's not like either team were shooting the daylights out of the basketball, but it was still Kentucky that shot very much better than what Tennessee did in the first half. You have Antonio Reeves, who scored 27 points, made 3 three-pointers. You had Reed Sheppard, that also scored 27 points and made 7 three-pointers. The guy that drilled Tennessee in the first matchup, Rob Dillingham, there it is. Rob Dillingham only got to 11 points. But when you have guys that can go on the road in SEC play, and we of course know how good a player Reed Sheppard is and some of these other guys, and can put a 20 spot up, I mean, multiple guys, you're good enough to be a Final Four team, and of course hold a Tennessee offense that's been pretty good, pretty stout, top 20 offense all year long for the most part. Just 25% in the first half, it's pretty solid. But of course, Tennessee came back and it's typical Dalton Knecht, career high 40 points. 40 points on 14 of 29 shooting, 6 of 15 from 3-point range, 17 points from Zakai Ziegler on 4 of 11 from 3, 6 of 15 from the field, 11 points from Jonas Adu. He had 8 rebounds total. You have Santiago Vescovi, who again did not make a field goal. Josiah Jordan-James, who made 2 field goals, both from downtown. But those two combined for you 2 of 14 on the day and 2 of 9 from 3. And, of course, the ones that were made were Josiah Jordan-James. So, I know Rick Barnes, I'll talk to Ryan about this here in a moment, but Rick Barnes kind of made a comment post-game in that press conference that, he pretty much told Dalton Knecht, hey, you got to share the ball more. But he also said, these guys got to knock down shots. And so when you have a guy that's going off, 30, 40 points or whatever, let him cook, in my opinion. Let him cook. But it goes to show you that even when he is cooking and he's scoring a career-high 40 points, sometimes, unless you get some help, that's not enough. So I'd let Dalton Knecht just go and do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. But some of these guys got to step up in proper times and help them out. I don't think it was the best day for Adu. I don't think it was the best day for Ziegler. It's not like they were horrible, but I certainly don't think it was the best day for those guys. But it just kind of is what it is. Kentucky showed how good it can be on Saturday against Tennessee. So, we'll see exactly what happens. Of course, Tennessee's going to take on the winner of Mississippi State's or LSU, the 8-9 matchup. They'll play on Thursday, and Tennessee's first game in the SEC tournament is going to be Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And, we'll see exactly what Tennessee kind of does in that regard over the SEC tournaments. But we'll continue to have Tennessee basketball conversation and where Tennessee is kind of headed in towards Selection Sunday, all that and more as the week goes on. Hey, when we come back, Ryan Schumpert going to have more of this conversation on Tennessee basketball with my guy from RTI. That is coming up next as we continue on with the Monday Locked On Vols. Fire TV is your destination for sports, for live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs as well as a Fire Stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes as well as free and live television. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball, the college basketball tournament, you're going to have all of it over at Fire TV. And right now, Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro teams and college leagues and conferences. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date with all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and a whole lot more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on the Fire TV and Fire TV on the Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on that. To learn more, go ahead and visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. So big shout out to Fire TV and also big shout out to Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry about when you're going to buy your tickets to your next big event, whether that's a basketball game, whether that's a baseball game, a football game, a concert, theater, comedy, whatever the case may be. Ballet, you can buy all this types of stuff to the next big event in your area by downloading the Game Time app today. Killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, the best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. You can also guarantee the lowest price, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection as well. You can see the view of your seat before you purchase so you know exactly what you're paying for. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON, that's LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Game Time today, last minute tickets, lowest price, guarantee. More Locked On Vols in my conversation with Ryan Schumpert of Rocky Top Insider. That's coming up next here on Locked On Vols.
Ryan, a tough loss on senior day, Saturday to Kentucky, but overall doesn't really take away from what this team's accomplished. With the loss to Arizona later that night, it looks like entering this week, Tennessee's still in line for a 1 seed.
Yeah, I think they're in at least control their own destiny coming into the week. And you're right, the USC win over Arizona was a huge one. I know Joe Lunardi said if Arizona would have won that game, they would have passed Tennessee onto the one line. So with that loss, it kind of feels like it's almost Tennessee, North Carolina more in that battle. Big win for Tar Heels at Duke yesterday, but Arizona kind of in it too. So we're really going to get a good look. We always talk how much does the conference tournament mean for NCAA tournament seeding. This week's going to be a pretty good example of just how much or how little.
Tennessee was kind of slow out of the gates there in the first half, a really strong second half against Kentucky. The defense there at the end, where Tennessee was just couldn't get past that 9-point plateau. It felt like broke within 5. Brought it within 4, 3 at one point. Didn't allow Kentucky past half court. Really put the clamps on. Nearly made a comeback. And ultimately it was Josiah that came up short with a corner 3. But still a really good comeback. And it was a Kentucky team that Kentucky team the other day could be a Final Four team.
Yeah, it's a team that you've seen the national media has kind of been in love with all season because there's few teams that can play offense like they can. And the number of options they have in their backcourt where it did feel like Tennessee played a really good second half. Kentucky just had an answer. I mean, when you shoot, I think, 65% from three-point range, it's going to be tough to get over, kind of climb that hill. And Tennessee had opportunities, but it really felt like that bad first half. Even though they were only down 4, you knew Tennessee was going to play better offensively, but you knew probably Kentucky was too. And Kentucky was really, really stout until the last 90 seconds or so.
Dalton Knecht, a career high, 40 points. He's gotten over 35, I want to say 5 times this year.
Now,
and then scores a 40-pointer career high the other day. And it's weird. Rick Barnes was obviously complimentary of Dalton Knecht, but also said, I want to take you out because I want you to share the basketball a little bit more. What did he kind of mean in that post-game press conference?
Well, I think he's looking for him to get guys involved, get other guys shots. And look, he was, I thought, more well-rounded than maybe the blanket quote that everybody's going to take shots. He said guys got to hit shots when they get them the ball. And, he mentioned a few times in transition he felt like other guys could have gotten good shots and he was a little too tunnel vision. And Rick was the first one to say, look, he's phenomenal, and we're asking a lot of him when we're asking him this, but we want him to get other guys opportunities, make it a little bit easier on him. And look, Dalton always talks about he wants to be coached hard. Rick's coached him hard all season, whether it's been defense, whether that's been passing in this most recent instance. And I think this is kind of the latest addition to that.
Jonas Adu. I mean, it's easy to say that Dalton Knecht is the X factor, but I feel like at this point in time, even on an off night for Dalton, he's still getting you 14, 15 points. Jonas Adu the X factor for Tennessee in the tournament.
I completely agree. I think it's him. It's him because of what he can give Tennessee on the inside, and Tennessee not being dependent on three-point shooting. And obviously Dalton can do that too, and this guy can get to the basket some, but it feels like the guy's scoring numbers are largely going to depend on how he shoots from the perimeter. And those are Tennessee's top three guys. You need Jonas to be more consistent. And I think you got to give him some credit where it doesn't feel like he's played great the last 2 weeks, and he's still scoring 13, 14. He's given Tennessee some. But when he's really on, when he can score in the upper teams, that's when it feels like this Tennessee team is going to be really tough to beat.
You mentioned kind of coming into this little hit that it's not like – it's more like Tennessee kind of controls its own destiny heading into the conference championship weekend, the tournaments. What does that mean for you? Does that mean Tennessee needs to win out, win a game, play on Saturday? Well, what's that look like for, I guess, Tennessee to be in the best situation heading into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's probably win at least two, make it to Sunday. We've seen, I mentioned how much conference tournaments matter. It feels like that Sunday rarely means a ton.
At least in the SEC.
At least in the SEC, because the SEC's, SEC and Big Ten don't play, and ACC and Pac-12, their other competition will be done by Saturday. So it obviously depends on what, again, I think UNC does in particular, because the Pac-12 is so bad. I don't know if Arizona's going to have a ton of opportunities to get quad one wins, but North Carolina will. So I think you target wanting to get 2 wins. Obviously, you really want to feel safe. You need to win all 3. But I think Tennessee can, especially if they get past Mississippi State. If Mississippi State instead of LSU, that gives them another quad one win. Auburn would be a quad one win on Saturday, or South Carolina, whoever that is. I think that should be enough, but you never really know.
Last thing, man, it's tournament basketball. You literally never know. But how confident should Tennessee fans be with this team? I personally, I feel like if you got a guy like Dalton Knecht, you got a chance in every single game. You got Zakai Ziegler, Jonas to do what we've seen, these seniors. Feels like there should be a lot of confidence.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I don't think yesterday does a ton to change that because just what you said earlier, when Kentucky's at their best, they're about as good as anybody in the country, and it felt like Kentucky was at their best yesterday. So something that's hard to see without matchups. We've seen a couple matchups, type of teams that have given Tennessee issues this year, but especially if they get that 1 seed in the West, because that would be Arizona as the 2. They feel shaky. Illinois has kind of been the 4 projected out there. Obviously, we don't know that, but that's the team Tennessee's beaten. I think you got to feel good about Tennessee, but that's the NCAA tournament, man. Whenever you start feeling real good, someone comes up and bites you from behind.
Happy birthday, by the way, and buckle up, everybody. Send him happy birthday tweets. He's at what's your Twitter?
At @Schumpert00.
Yes, say happy birthday here on a Monday. It's his birthday today, but also buckle up. The month of March is here. It's going to be wild, and excited for the ride.
Great stuff there from Ryan Schumpert. Again, Rocky Top Insider. Give him a follow on Twitter, and if you do follow him, wish him a happy birthday today. I really appreciate him stopping by, and I do apologize. I needed a guest on today's show, and we were both covering the Tennessee baseball game, and I wanted to try to do it inside, but that was kind of during pregame warm-up, so there was some noise in the background. Hope that wasn't too much of a bother, but I do appreciate you guys hanging in there through all that stuff. So tons of Tennessee basketball stuff throughout the week will continue on as Tennessee tries to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. I do want to take just a moment real quick before we get on and talk a little baseball in segment 3. Don't forget, though, also Twitter Tuesday, comments, concerns, questions, whatever you guys got at _Caner and at LockedOnVols. Send those in, and we'll spend time answering them on tomorrow's show. I do want to take a moment real quick to address what happened to the Lady Vols on Saturday. I haven't spoken about Lady Vols on this podcast all season long, so I'm not trying to come in here and act like I'm all-knowing, act like I know this team front and back, because I don't. Act like I've watched every single game, because I haven't. Fact of the matter is, though, I do want to comment on what happened, because I'm sure you saw it. Lady Vols, who are playing good basketball right now, under Coach Kelly Harper, had a chance to knock off undefeated number 1 South Carolina on Saturday in the semifinal round of the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. Tennessee led by 2 at 73-71. 73-71, I believe. and was at the charity stripe with a chance to put the game away with 2 free throws. Missed them. 2 free throws, missed them. 1.7 seconds, inbounded the ball from just over half court. South Carolina. Tennessee has 2 timeouts. South Carolina has none. Tennessee has foul to give. And what transpires next is truly mind-boggling. I don't get it. I'm not a basketball coach, so I'm not going to try to explain X's and O's, but I don't quite understand. You have the center for South Carolina, who has never made a three-pointer, never attempted a three-pointer in her life, steps out at the top of the key. Nobody is within 6 feet of her. Nobody's close. They inbound it to her. She takes the shot at the top of the key, wide open, banks in. Game over, 74-73. What in the world? What in the world are we doing there? Kelly Harper said in postgame, like, hey, South Carolina did not have a timeout. I did not want to call a timeout and give them a chance to game plan for that final shot, which I understand. I thought Brent Hubb said this best than anybody over the weekend. That's okay if your team is prepared for that moment. Clearly, your team is not prepared for that moment because there was miscommunication. They didn't know what was going on. Do you guard the inbounder? Do you not guard the inbounder? What is going on? I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's somebody that's a 40% three-point shooter or someone who's never attempted a three-pointer in her life. You don't let somebody take a wide-open shot with the game on the line. And that's what the Lady Vols did. And you lost in heartbreaking fashion because, again, Tennessee was down by 23 points. Lady Vols were down by 23 points and fought and clawed their way back into that game and led and had a chance to win at the charity stripe and didn't, and just blew it at the end. Man, that was hard to swallow. And also it came within, like, if you're a true big time Tennessee basketball fan, men and women, Tennessee men lost, and then like within 10-15 minutes the Lady Vols collapsed like that. It was not great. I know a lot of people are mad at Kelly Harper right now. I certainly don't understand what you were doing there on that end of the play right there. Just really, really bad. Inexcusable in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Again, I'm not a basketball coach, and I'm not a Lady Vols insider. But this is from an observer like you who might have been watching that final play or listened to that final play or saw the replay or what happened. Inexcusable in my opinion. But that doesn't take away from how hard those girls fought and got back into the game and had a chance to win and knock off the best team in the land and how well they are playing right now. So, tough scene, really tough scene. You hope Lady Vols can rebound for sure. No pun intended, and, be better after that. Hey, when we come back, I will give you a baseball recap from the weekend. Tennessee made quick work of Illinois over at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. That's coming up next as we continue on with Locked On Vols. I want to tell you about our friends over at LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want the quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn's got a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals that you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does it all while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that will help you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and even quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring, and you can too. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, we continue on here on this Monday edition of Locked On Vols. Don't forget Twitter Tuesday. That's coming up tomorrow, X Tuesday. Any questions, comments, concerns, statements, whatever the case may be, @_Kane or @Locked On Vols, and go ahead and fill up the comment section on this episode on the YouTube channel as well. I will find your questions to the best of my abilities, and we'll talk about them. Tons of football talk. I will be doing the rest of the week, and of course we will we'll be doing on next week whenever spring practice starts. This might be the only episode I've done in like a couple of years that have not mentioned football, and that's probably a bad programming, probably bad programming on my spot. But I mean, basketball's a big topic right now, and a lot of people want to talk about baseball on Monday mornings in the final segment because of what happened with 3 games over the weekend. And also, it's a little spicy there. Lindsey Nelson Stadium on a Sunday afternoon. Tennessee had already defeated Illinois 6-3 on Friday. 24-1. Yes, 24-1 on Saturday. And then ended up pulling out a victory of 8-3 on Sunday. But after 2 innings, Tennessee was down 3-0. And nothing was really happening at the plates. Aaron Combs, who got the start, wasn't fantastic, but Tennessee came back, chipped away a little bit. You had a solo pinch hit home run from Hunter Inslee in the 5th that got Tennessee on the board. Blake Burke hit a solo home run, and we will come back and talk about what happened after that to get Tennessee on the board 3-2 in the 6th inning. Dean Curley had a sacrifice fly that tied the ball game up for Tennessee. In the 7th inning, it was an RBI double from Kavaris Tears. They got Tennessee its first lead of the ball game in the bottom of the 7th inning at 4-3. And then the big blow off the bat of the Big Maple. Canada, right? Robin Villeneuve, a grand slam. And Tennessee never looked back, won 8-3. But got a little spicy there. Quick pitch, whatever you want to call it, essentially when the batter has its hand up and is, doing his pre-batting rituals or whatever, and the pitcher goes ahead and throws. And that's called a quick pitch. A lot of the times, though, if you have your hand up and you're in the box, you're granted time. But my opinion on that is if you are in the batter's box, you are ready to go. That is just my opinion. Now, there were some words exchanged, and the starting pitcher for Illinois did that to Christian Moore a couple of times, did that to Dean Curley a couple of times that I can remember. And, Cal Stark exchanged some words with their catcher when he came up to hit, and both benches were warned early in the game for talking and chirping. And so like in football, if you get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, if you get one more, you're ejected. Kind of the same principle here. Both benches were warned. And so in the 5th inning, when Blake Burke came up and hit that home run, and he was coming back around and he said something to the catcher, the umpire heard it essentially and ran him and tossed him. What that means is Blake Burke was ejected, but Blake Burke will have to miss Tuesday's game. It's a midweek game against Eastern Kentucky. It's going to be okay. But he'll be back and ready to roll for Tennessee to begin Southeastern Conference play in Tuscaloosa the following weekend, this upcoming weekend. So, yeah, I think that's good. A little fiery, little contested battle there on Sunday to get you set for SEC play. Illinois is not a very good ball club, but it's a Power 5 program, and Tennessee just beat that arse over the weekend, 24-1 on Saturday. Oh my gosh, it was the worst day of my life being there and covering that. It just, oh God. It was sun shining and sideways raining. How's that possible? East Tennessee, that's the answer. But nonetheless, still a lot of good things from Tennessee baseball over the weekend. A.J. Causey, who's still filling in the starting role for A.J. Russell on Friday nights, career-high 12 strikeouts. A.J. Causey's just doing his thing. Nate Snead on Sunday, he came in and pitched the final 6 innings of scoreless baseball. He had 5 strikeouts. I think he had 2 walks. He gave up 3 hits. He was phenomenal on Sunday, and those 2 guys can... as you're still searching for that third starter when everybody's healthy, everybody's saying, well, why not Causey? Why not Nate Snead? And again, I've said, and I even said it on the podcast on Friday, and I've said it on the porch, and I've said it on VolQuest.com, for Tennessee to be at its best, those 2 guys need to come out of the bullpen because they're such unique looks. However, nobody's emerged to be that third starter. Aaron Combs has been up or down. The 2 freshmen, Derek Schaefer and Matthew Dallas, appear to be in the doghouse right now. What it seems, Matthew Dallas, who the last 2 times we've seen him couldn't locate the zone, didn't pitch this weekend. Derek Schaefer pitched to 1 batter, got 1 out on Wednesday, but on Saturday, or maybe it was Friday, faced 1 batter, walked him, and then they took him out. And so the freshmen haven't run with the job. Xander Seacrest is, the last time we saw him, he pitched in a midweek start. Because of how it's shaping out and because of the injury situation with A.J. Russell, it might make the most sense for it eventually to be A.J. Causey because he has that experience at Jacksonville State, and he looks really good doing it. Sidewinder throw, 92, sinking. It's just such a weird angle, and it's hard to get used to. A.J. Russell, who's Tennessee's number 1 starter, is still working himself back from soreness. He's continuing to get better. It would not shock me whatsoever if he makes his return, getting an inning, maybe 2 tomorrow in the midweek game. But, as far as him starting the SEC opener on Friday, I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, could he pitch at some point this weekend? I think so as well. But I think they're going to continue to try to build him back and build him back and build him back. So when it's all said and done, when he's ready to roll and he's ready to start again and throw 80, 90 pitches and go 5, 6, 7 innings, would it make more sense for him to slide back to Sunday? Keep Causey on Friday, Beam on Saturday. Would it make more sense to put him back on Friday, move Causey to Sunday? Would it make more sense to start Nate Snead on Sunday? Or I don't know. I don't know. I don't make $1.5 million to make those decisions. But Tony Vitello does, and Tony Vitello and Frank Anderson will figure it out. The point is, Tennessee's got options, and Tennessee's in a good spot. And Tennessee is, once again, you need 4 starting pitchers in regional and postseason play, and Tennessee's definitely got those. We'll see exactly how it shakes out. Again, Tony Vitello said it as early as the fall when we were over there talking to him for fall practices, the fall practice session. He's like, hey, we won't have these questions about the starting pitching, the starting rotation answered until sometime in SEC play. And we'll see what happens. But I like what Causey's giving you. I think it's hard to deny Causey a starting job right now. I truly do. And I understand Bowling Green is not good and Illinois is not fantastic. But I'll tell you this about Illinois. It's still a Power 5 program. And he carved him up for 12 strikeouts. Had a career high for him. Did A.J. Causey, and he looked really good doing it. So we'll see what happens. But Tennessee, I like the Tennessee baseball team heading into SEC play. I do. It's been better defensively than I thought it would be. Love the lineup. The lineup can absolutely rake. I like the starting pitching options. I still have questions about the bullpen. I still do. They're going to use the crap out of Andrew Binky and Dylan Loy, a couple lefties. Marcus Phillips, who might have the nastiest stuff on the team, they're going to use a lot. Chris Stamos, who Tony thought was going to come back and make his debut but his return after getting a little banged up a couple weeks ago. Didn't quite fit into the game at any point in time, but he's ready to go. He's available. Kirby Cannell, who's pitched a lot for Tennessee. I mean, there's some guys who I like in that bullpen, but I still have questions in that bullpen. I do. That's probably my biggest question mark heading into SEC play. But overall, overall, Tennessee baseball team looks good. And as Tony Vitello said post-game on Sunday, I think this is a team that can compete and win some games in the SEC. I do. But, what's that good? It's a quote for you, but we won't really truly know until it starts. And we won't. But I do like this group that he's got, and I think this group will make a whole lot of noise. Tennessee again over the weekend. Tennessee baseball 6-3 winner over Illinois on Friday, 24-1. Why the hell was there not a mercy rule on Saturday and 8-3 on Sunday? Great stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed a little baseball recap here on a Monday morning. We will continue to talk Tennessee basketball as the week goes on. Don't forget Twitter Tuesday. Questions, comments, concerns, @_Caner, @LockedOnVols. DMs are open. Text me as well, or tweet me as well, or find me on YouTube by leaving a comment on the show. We'll do that tomorrow, and of course, we'll do tons of Tennessee football spring preview content, talk about position by positions, all that and more is coming up the rest of the week on Locked On Vols. First, everydayers, thanks so much for making Tennessee Locked On Vols your first listen. Can't thank you enough, and we will be right back here tomorrow. This is Locked On Vols.